I'm BJ from Hearns, and I'm going to be talking about the differences in scales in models. So there was a question that was asked on YouTube from Flying Buzzard, so let's talk about scales. Now scales are pretty straightforward. So scales are often referred to as a fraction. So 1 to 35, as in our latest competition, it basically means 1/35 the size of a real object. So if we're talking about figures like this one, so this one here, so you can imagine this height here, which is about 50 mil. So 35 of those will give you the size of full-size human. So that'll give you an idea of how big a particular model is going to be. Now, I'll just go through, let's see, cars. Cars here would be easier to picture. So we've got 1 to 64th, which is quite small, 1 to 43, 1 to 24, and 1 to 18. So you can imagine here with this Ferrari, so that's roughly, I guess, 10 inches long. So looking at 18 of these, so imagine 18 this way and 18 this way would be the same size as a full-size car. So that's the nitty-gritty. It's a very simple concept. Quite often you'll see it with a 1/ with the number, so 1/35, or it might be 1 with a colon 35, which is basically the same meaning in a ratio. So certain models have fit into some standardized sort of scales. So with aircraft, it's quite often you see them in 1 to 72. So here we've got 1 to 72 in a fighter, 1 to 48, and then 1 to 32. So with aircraft, you might think, oh, okay, 172 is always going to be this size. But in fact, 1 to 72, because it's a ratio, when you're talking about a bomber, well, that's also 1 to 72 here in this B-17. And you can see the differences here. Now, the easiest way to try to visualize would be always to think about how big a human's going to be. So the human, 1 to 72, so there's a 1 to 72 human. So that's the same size human that's going to be fitting into both of these machines. So, of course, you're not going to have a Napoleonic British guy sitting in one of these World War II fighters, but it gives you an idea of, the size in relation. Now, if you can imagine, during World War II in Europe, these are flying along, and you had a fighter like this as escort. So you can see, like, one pilot in here compared to the pilot and the co-pilot in there. Now, when you talk about the next scale up, you're looking at this one here, which is a Defiant, in 1 to 48 scale. So 48 scale, I haven't actually got a human here in 48 scale, but you can imagine it will probably be like so. Probably about 20 mil or 25 mil, I guess. So yeah, so that's 48 scale. And then you can see a 48 scale fighter, or this is a fighter bomber, I guess, will be very similar size to a 72 scale. So we're talking about the 72nd scale one here. So on the smaller scale, we've got the 1 to 144. And as you can see, 1 to 144 is half the scale of here. So that would be a human, which would be half this size. So once you get the head around that, so the fraction or the ratio of the scale, but it doesn't necessarily set the size of the model, because a lot of people come in thinking, oh, I want a 72nd scale plane, and there's all different sizes. Yeah, so like I said earlier, the easiest way to work out a particular scale is imagine the size of the human that's going to be in the model. So obviously bombs are going to be bigger in a plane, or with tanks, they're going to be quite sizable. So there's a 35 scale figurine there. When you talk about science fiction, so it's a little bit different because it's all imaginary. So this is what's classified as 1 to 144, okay, which would mean this plane here is in the same relationship in size. And then the bigger one here is 1 to 100. So 1 to 100 figurine would be like so big. So you look at him like that. And then we've got here again, that's 1 to 35. So 1 to 35, you just imagine a figure sitting inside that suit. Okay, so if he was outside the suit, he'll be about this size. So obviously this particular size here, 20 of this height would be the same size as a full-size human. Now it's interesting when you look at this, I mean this is 1 to 48 scale in the science fiction world. So if you can imagine here, so that compares to a World War II aircraft there. But they're the same scale. So I hope that gives you a better insight on scales. And if I've missed anything out or you would like to know more, just leave us a message. Thank you.